So I am a beginning gardener, and I believe that Dee is our resident pro here, and she would say she's not, but I think that's not true. Anyway, she is our resident pro here. And so if you have any questions or anything while we're talking, feel free to
Ask Dee.
ask Dee. Feel free to ask Dee. Actually, Doreen knows it all too, so you can ask Doreen.
Doreen did a really neat thing with her garden this year in the bags. You're gonna have to tell us about that.
With what?
Those bags. She just split open the bag of potting soil and planted her seeds.
Yeah, those were for like winter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're
Bad
good.
boy.
So when you who has a garden here? Awesome. Our Pennsylvanians have a garden.
I do have a little garden.
You have a little garden. I have. Go ahead,
We
Dad.
have peppermint.
You guys have lots of beautiful plants, not edible. Your landscaping is amazing. So this is going to help you as well. Gail, have you ever had a garden?
Yeah, I've had a garden, and we have plants. We have avocado plants. We have lots of avocado plants. I don't think my roommate knows what to do with them. They're in pots.
Oh my goodness. We go through at least 6 or 8 avocados a week at our house. So
avocados are expensive up here.
Yeah, up
They are.
here too. So
yeah.
help.
So
do a garden.
Whether you're a seasoned gardener, a startup gardener, wherever you are, there's some basic things that apply to everyone during any stage in the gardening journey. So we all have weeds, pests, and bad harvest. I think I killed my favorite plant last week by taking it out and putting it in the sun. So this class is going to be your ticket to tackling even the hardest season, and you'll have tricks up your sleeve that'll help you succeed from the day you put the seeds in the ground until you harvest it. And using essential oils in the garden helps us to garden in a way that results in fruits and veggies that have been lovingly cared for and are organic. And you can even get that affordably, sustainably, and without the use of harsh chemicals. How does that sound to everybody? Good?
Nice.
So let's start. I'm going to share my screen. Forgot to do that right at the beginning. All right. So what are essential oils? Is everybody here an essential oil user?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Hold on. I'm trying to do all of these things on my screen at once, and I'm not succeeding very well. Hold on one second. All right, so we don't have to go through a whole lot about essential oils, but we know they're chemical compounds that make up the lifeblood of a plant, and we know here that Young Living's the best brand that we have. They're organically grown, and we also have something that's really amazing is the Vitality line. Does anybody else love the Vitality oils like I do?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you know about Seed to Seal if you're a Young Living member. There's 0 pesticides. They use essential oils as pesticides. That's why they can't call them organic, because the government doesn't think using essential oils is organic. Anyway. Don't get me started. So just so you know, if you want these things later, I have an email for you that you don't have to write down all of these recipes unless you got to have them right now. So whoever Dee invited, she will send you the email. Whoever I invited, I'll send you the email so you can have all these recipes and on cute little cards, because that's the most important thing, isn't it? All right, so it's no secret that bugs can totally ruin your garden plans. They eat your plants, they eat you, and they really dampen our dreams of gardening. So you could use insecticides or sprays with chemicals, but it costs to you and it costs to the environment. So it can lead to bioaccumulation of toxins in your body and even in your plants that cause chronic illness and disease. So which would you prefer? I mean, I think it's a rhetorical question. Fortunately, we have the insect repellent that Young Living released a couple years ago. Has anybody used that?
I love it.
Yeah.
I use it for hiking. I put it in a roller ball, in a little roller ball, and then I can put it on my ankles and especially like my wrists.
Awesome. I saw an amazing video where they took that stuff and there was a tick in the middle and they put the insect repellent around it and the tick would not get anywhere near the insect repellent. It was amazing. It's tested to repel mosquitoes, ticks, and fleas, and it's all naturally derived and plant-based ingredients. So if you don't have that, try it out. But if you're more of a DIY kind of person, try this recipe. Use 2 ounces of witch hazel and 2 ounces of distilled water, and then 20 drops of thieves, lemon, rosemary, and citronella. And what you do is you spray it on your plants in the evening. So that is something that the bugs don't like. And if you do it in the morning, you're going to burn your plants because they'll be wet, and then the sun will hit them, it'll burn them. I didn't spray anything on my big plant that I had, but the leaves are really burnt. So I'm going to go off topic for 1 second and tell you what I've done for my burnt leaves. I've given my plant homeopathy. Can you guys even believe that you can give plants homeopathics? So the homeopathics for burning is Cantharis, and for shock is Aconitum napellus. So I mix that in some water every time I water the plant. And I can't believe that brown leaves are turning green again with that. So that's not going to be in the email. So if you need that information, Cantharis and Aconite.
How do you spell that?
Cantharis. I use the 200 potency. You could probably use the lower potency if you get it immediately. And then the other one is Aconitum napellus. Mom, how do you spell that?
What, aconite? ACONITE?
But it's Aconitum. Aconite,
It is.
ACONITUM.
Nepalus, NEPALLUS, is that it?
I think it is. And that's 200 as well.
Okay,
So I took
spell that one more time.
NAPELLUS. Aconitum napellus. Did you get the aconitum part?
No.
ACONITUM. Okay. So I did them both in the 200 potency. I put 5 of each in the water and let it dissolve before I put it on my plant. Okay.
How much water did you use? A whole spray bottle worth?
2
I didn't use a spray bottle. I used my watering can.
Oh.
So I don't know until it doesn't want anymore.
Okay.
All right. So who has pets here? Who has a dog or cat? All right. Dee, you have cats, right? Do the cats go outside?
No.
Okay. Well, that's good. Now you don't have to worry about it. Hey, Doreen.
Yeah.
Hey,
Can't
we
raise
see
my
your
hand if
face.
I'm not there. Just don't look too close.
Can't see nothing. Don't worry. Did you have anything to add so far? Or a question?
No, I never thought about using homeopathy with plants, but I have a whole homeopathy kit. So
So there's a Facebook page called Gardening with Homeopathy. If you're on Facebook, it's amazing.
Okay.
I'm shocked. Like for everything that you use homeopathy for in humans, you can use it for in plants and pets and things like that. So
Awesome.
that's another class for sure. I'm
Yeah.
super excited about homeopathy. But do either one of you have pets, Doreen or Tammy? Dogs or cats?
I have dogs.
They get in your garden sometimes? Okay, we
Yeah.
used to have a dog and he would run through all the plants and just,
Well, mine are all in boxes now, so we don't have that problem.
your dogs are all in boxes?
No, my. Yeah, them too.
Awesome. So when we have pets, as much as we love them, they can really wreak havoc in a garden. So a simple, safe way to encourage them to stay away is by using scents. Dogs don't like black pepper and cats don't like rosemary. So they will stay away from those scents if you put those scents around it. So here's what you can do in order to keep them away. If you drop 5 to 10 drops of that essential oil, oh, Tammy, sorry.
I had a question. Will it also keep chickens out of my garden?
I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that. I only had dogs and cats on there. But I'm sure Dee will Google it for you right now.
Sorry, Dee.
No, that's good.
So you take 5 to 10 drops of the essential oil and put it in a pan of warm water, and you use old washcloths or scraps of clothing and tear it into long skinny strips and soak the strips in the water, and then you put the strips around your garden, and it will keep the fuzzies out of your garden. So, all right, so who hates weeds? Who hates,
Excellent. Not right now.
who hates weeding? There's so many hours we spend on weeds, and summer's not long enough to weed everything we need to do. So if you're trying to get rid of unwanted plant growth that doesn't involve harmful chemicals, I mean, we've all probably seen the whole things with Roundup and people suing Roundup for cancer. So if you have that, please strongly consider not having that anywhere near you, because you can do this safely without hurting your body. It's linked to neurological hormone imbalances and things like that. So safe alternatives. You ready? Wither the unwanted cinnamon bark oil. You can spray cinnamon bark oil on your weeds, and we can imagine how that would wither them, right? It's so strong. So this one is in a 4-ounce bottle. I'm imagining that at my parents' house, they have kind of a big yard, and they need a sprayer, like one of those sprayers. So you'd have to figure out the dilution of it with this. I'd probably put a whole bottle in there in the sprayer. So then sometimes we have unwanted friends growing on our plants, and that can cause poor growth, bad harvest, and even death of the plant. It can block the pores of the plant that help the plant to breathe and choke the plant completely. And those unwanted friends can also steal vital nutrients from the plants, and that decreases the amount of your harvest. So this plant love spray, you can spray on your plant in order to keep those guys away. So 10 drops of tea tree, peppermint, and citronella. Mom, that's the one that you're looking for, I think, to spray on your plants. Again, at night, not during the day, so that you don't have any scorching of the plants.
So the second batch there,
Sorry.
on the bottom of that page, that was spraying for what?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The plant love spray, what is that intended to use for?
To keep critters off your plants.
Are we talking like aphids and worms and things?
So, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, bugs.
Plus the tea
Unwanted
tree-
friends.
Yeah, so the tea tree is also antifungal, and it helps prevent mold and that kind of thing.
What about grasshoppers? Will it keep grasshoppers off?
I want to know if it'll keep cicadas away.
Yeah, really.
How about those white little butterflies that leave those worms on the back of all your leaves for like your pepper plants and tomato plants?
Yeah.
I would imagine that you could use this too, but I'm not an expert on which ones
Okay.
do which. Best
Yeah.
essential oils for what? Natural
repellent.
bug repellent. So what do you have for those? What are they called? The little white things that get on the back of your face. That's what we call them, right?
Oh, gnats,
Ladybug?
lice, mosquitoes.
Is that called an aphid? Mom, what did you say?
Mealybug?
Mealybug?
Oh, I don't know. Basil is a natural larvicide.
I did not know that. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Basil. Can we
That
spray it
might
all over
even-
our lawn for the cicadas? Because they're
Too
larvae.
late. Too late.
Mm.
I was thinking the same thing. We should have known this a couple days ago.
So it's interesting because a friend of mine was just telling me she started spraying peppermint on her front porch and the cicadas have stayed away.
Hmm.
Interesting.
I use peppermint for
Yeah.
mice.
For mice,
Mhm.
Nice too. What about lizards? We have lizards here.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Blizzards.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of Dr. Google.
Lizards keep the bugs away though, don't they, Mom?
You don't want them on your door and getting in your house.
Yeah,
They
but
keep
eat
the bugs out of your
spiders.
house.
Yeah, they eat the spiders and they eat the bugs in your house.
No.
I love those little lizards in Florida. They're so cute.
They
They're cute
are.
until they're in your house.
Exactly. They'll make me hurt myself.
They
They really will.
We have them in Maryland. They're really pretty.
They were real
don't
cute.
usually get in the house, but they're
No.
small.
They're cute when they're little, but they get big.
I don't mind. I didn't mind the lizards when I was in Florida. It was the salamanders that were kind of freaky.
Well, I haven't seen any of those. The lizards are all, when you go out in services, lizards all over people's doors and you have to they scurry all over the place. They don't get on you, but sometimes they do fall on you, and then that's
Have you had that happen, Gail?
what?
Have you had a lizard fall on you?
I had a frog fall on me.
That's
The lizards scare me half to death.
Oh,
Yeah, because they scurry and you don't know they're there, and then all of a sudden they're there, and I'm not afraid of them, but they scurry, and that just scares me.
I don't like anything that scurries. Tammy,
No.
I think that if you spray this on the bottoms of the leaves and see what happens, I'd love to hear what happens with
Okay.
that. Yeah. All right. Does anybody know what companion gardening is? Yeah, you gardeners know. Doreen,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
do you want to share?
Well,
It's
I'm
okay
not
if
an
you
expert.
don't. No, me neither.
Yeah, but when you plant certain plants together, they kind of help each other. They keep certain bugs away, or they just work well together.
Mom?
Yeah, when I used to have a garden, I used to plant marigolds around it because bugs hated that.
Marigolds stink.
That's why it works.
Bugs don't like it.
Look at the list though. It has basil there.
Yeah, some plants really play well together and others don't. That's because every plant has certain nutrients that it uses from the soil for growth and fruit production. And they also excrete certain byproducts back into the soil that can either help or hinder your harvest. So if you grow two types of plants next to each other that both rely strongly on nitrogen for growth, they're going to overuse the nitrogen in the soil and they'll starve each other out. So corn and tomatoes is a good example of that. Corn and tomatoes do not play well together. However, if you use two plants that next to each other that eat different nutrients, they'll work together to promote each other's growth. A good example of this is tomatoes and carrots, and they work really well together in the soil. So you plant them together and they have a better harvest. So who has had good results with planting, a companion planting? Anybody? Yeah, Doreen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you plant together?
Well, we did the marigold thing works good. I did the, basil and tomato.
Well, and then you can make a sauce with it.
Yes, it goes together perfect. And something with green beans, but now I can't remember what it was.
Dee, what have you planted together?
I didn't do it mindfully or with thought.
Okay.
I find that hard to believe, Dee. You do everything mindfully and with thought.
Apparently not gardening.
There she is. Sorry. So what does this have to do with essential oils? Well, since essential oils are made from plants, consider using oils in place of your companion plants, or if you don't have the companion plant, if you don't have sage to put next to your potatoes, then you can use sage essential oil. So you can make a companion spray to use on the soil and leaves of the plants. Using this guide here, you'll add 10 to 15 drops of that oil into a 4-ounce spray bottle, top it with distilled water, and spray it on the plants as a companion. I think that's the neatest thing ever.
Mhm.
How often?
You know what? This is new to me. This whole thing with spraying oils on your plants for companion, that is brand new to me. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. We've got some seasoned gardeners here and me, who's a new gardener. So thank you for bearing with me. And hopefully if you find it out, that you'll share it with all of us. That would be awesome. I wonder how often now. I will try not to go Googling right now. So the next one is called Pollinator Party. Did you know that some plants self-pollinate? So fruits like peppers can stand alone and produce their own fruits, but not every plant does that. Lots of them need the help of cross-pollination between male and female plants. So who helps with that?
Bees.
Mhm.
And
Butterflies?
yes, bees and butterflies. Have you guys noticed less bees and butterflies around your gardens? Yeah, I think it's a sign of the times, unfortunately. But if you want to attract bees and butterflies, you can attract them with this recipe. Without them, without pollinators, you won't have good harvests, and all of your hard work and waiting will have been disappointed. So they'll be attracted to the smell of your flowers. And so using lavender and orange oil, spraying it out there will help the pollinators come to you. Has anybody ever tried this? Have you ever, you've tried this particular one?
I've used the lavender spray on my succulents.
Tell us about that.
So I did that in my post. I had to look up my recipe and find it, because lavender, I would get those little tiny bugs in the succulents, and succulents need a spray anyway, and I love my succulents. So I have succulents all over the place and I have to repot them. So they like to be sprayed. They don't like to be like flooded with water. So you wait for a while and you spray them every once in a while. So I would spray them with the lavender and the tea tree in the spray bottle, and that would help nourish them. And I don't know that they pollinate, but I just know the lavender seemed to be really good for them.
That's cool. Gail?
So you're saying not to water succulents, but to spray them?
Yeah, they didn't need much water at all. So I would spray them every couple days, and then I'd water them maybe once a week, a little bit, if I noticed they were starting to shrink. So I like when plants tell me they need water.
Okay.
That's awesome. So I love this, using lavender and orange for it because I want butterflies. I'm not a fan of bees, but I want butterflies. One time I had a bee crawl up the inside of my glasses and like wander around here. And ever since then, I've been scared of bees. I threw my glasses, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Dee, would you share with the group why we have so much pollen?
Okay, so the other day, this was what somebody shared with our group, and I researched it because I was like, really? Because I never had allergies before and histamine issues all my life, and all of a sudden, I don't have sinus issues, but I have all this skin stuff and eye stuff going on the past couple of years. So it turns out that since like the 50s and 60s, developers favor male trees because female trees have fruit and they make a mess. So they don't want those. Well, the male trees produce the pollen and there's no place for it to go. So that's why we do have, if you have noticed, an increase in green dust over the years, certain times of the years. It's not your imagination.
Wow.
And that's why I don't have a problem hiking in the woods. I could hike in the woods all day, not a problem, because out in the wild, male and female trees just grow together. We have our pollinators and all of that happens. So
That's crazy.
It is.
That is crazy.
Thank you for sharing that, Dee. She shared that with me the other day and my mouth just dropped open. So what about tending the harvest? A lot of people say it's the most wonderful time of the year, like having all your fresh fruits and vegetables, all your patience has paid off. You get this fresh fruit and it goes bad before you can eat it all. So you have to give most of it away. That's because of the bacteria on your fruit that doesn't have the support of a plant. The enzymes break down and they grow bad spots on it. So always wash your fruits and veggies, first of all. And then if you have the Thieves Fruit and Veggie Soak, I have seen amazing, amazing results with that. So has Doreen. It is wonderful stuff. When COVID started, I started really using that every time I got fruits and vegetables. Someone is chatting with me. Oh, so chickens do not like citrus. So if you throw some citrus peels around the garden, that will be helpful for you. Is that good, Tammy? I guess you can do the same thing with the pieces of fabric if you want to put the fabric out there too. I don't know how destructive chickens are. They might want to eat it. Who knows?
They can be destructive.
Very good.
They like to eat your plants before they give you the fruitage, and then once the fruit comes, then they eat that too.
Oh, brats.
Yeah.
Goodness. So when we're using a fruit and veggie soak, it takes the dirt off and it rinses off any kind of, like if you're bringing stuff in from the grocery store, the pesticides that are on the outside, it will take that off too. But if you're a DIYer, you can make your own produce soak with a sink full of water and several drops. Mom, you're gonna love this, thieves and lemon. So that's a great way to soak your veggies if you can't get the thieves and the fruit and veggie soak. And have you ever noticed that once the fruit and veggies get in the house, these little pesky winged creatures appear?
Yep.
Oh man, we had such a problem last year, right, Chuck? Oh, those things. Are they fruit flies? I don't know what they were. We brought in a new plant and I counted like 150 in the little vinegar solution that I had. And so here is a diffuser recipe that if I had known this last year, I would have used this. Basil, peppermint, lavender, clove, and eucalyptus. So that is a great thing to have in your back pocket in case you get those little critters inside your house.
So peppermint is really, really good too on the threshold of the doors because
Let's
we
see.
get ants that come in a lot. And I put peppermint, or you could take the thieves spray, the household cleaner spray, and spray that. And there was a friend of mine, she put, no, what was it? I think it was peppermint also into the thieves spray, or just the thieves spray by itself. But ever since she uses that on her counters, she doesn't have that problem anymore either.
That's
I have
awesome.
I had
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
thing. I used to see, what was it, spiders. And every time, once a week, I would clean in a certain area and these little tiny spiders would come out. So that meant I didn't get rid of them. So I would clean that area again, but the next week, guess what? So finally I heard about the thieves and I spray it there. I don't see any spiders coming from that area. So there you go.
That's awesome. Very good. So the last tip I have for you for keeping your harvest fresher for longer is to clean your storage containers really well and make sure there's no bacteria in there when you put your fruits and veggies in there. And you can use your thieves dish soap for that. And it's got a really nice scent to there. Does anybody can? Does anybody here can? How did I know? How did I know? How did I know I was in the right group? I'm not a canner. I've never done it. My mom did it. Tammy, did you have a question, or are you saying you can?
I have canned.
I can, we can, and freeze.
That's awesome. So this little class that I'm talking about, that I'm doing, really talks about using some essential oils. If you're making lots, like let's say you're making lots of spaghetti sauce, like you're making 10 gallons of spaghetti sauce to can. You know, if anybody's ever made spaghetti sauce, how much oregano you can go through. But if you're making a really large pot, all you need is 2 or 3 drops of your oregano vitality oil in there. And that's a really high quality ingredient and good in your canning. So feel free to use your oils in your canning. And then last but not least, you're the gardener and you probably willing to break your back, scrape your hands, have bites and things like that in order to get a good harvest. But you know what you can use in order to take care of yourself, your sore muscles. And then this little DIY soothing skin stick is lovely. If you get bit up or anything while you're outside, how about if I say when you get bit up while you're outside? And so I have used Deep Relief and Panaway a lot, not just from gardening. And I have to say, I am in love with both of them. So then, go ahead.
I like those ingredients in the stick too, because I've used all of those or just one of those, and it's really, really helpful if you got bit, because we have ants that bite and we have, mosquitoes that are out there. So I always wind up with something, and especially hiking, even using the repellent spray, sometimes one will get through, or you sweat it off and now you're vulnerable. So that's really helpful. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that lavender spray is really good for that too. I can't remember what's in there.
Lavender, yeah.
Yeah. So, you got the best deal with Young Living. And I just want to say, I appreciate everyone coming here today. Dee, I'm so thankful that you came to help me out. Doreen and Tammy, I love that we have some seasoned gardeners here and that you put up with me, even though I'm not a seasoned gardener. And thanks to my family for also being here. Does anybody have any questions that we can point to Dee?
No, you did a nice job.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
But it was really good, Lori. Thank you. I learned a lot.
It was
lot of
very
good,
informative.
Katie.
Thank you.
And you're gonna email the little recipes?
I'm going to email it to Dee so that she can email it to Doreen and Tammy. And then,
Very good.
hold on, I'm going to stop recording.